and welcome back to another episode of Gaming Views. Today we're rolling out the red carpet, getting the snacks in and pretending that we know how to host properly because we've got another very special guest with us. With me as always though is Dan H. Hiya Dan.
Evening.
But we have a VIP with us. We have David Turner of the Computer Game Show podcast. A podcast.
Hello.
Well, a podcast. The intro's not over yet. You're VIP. You get an extended intro.
Have I just removed my VIP status from jumping in way too early?
No, you've probably given us something to clip to put before the episode there, don't you?
I've made the blooper reel.
A podcast that's been running for almost 10 years. Well, it's a bit longer now because this intro's gone on for a bit longer. Having started in April of 2016, still going today. We've at the time of recording 467 episodes, although I lost count because it's probably more than 500 because you've got loads of one-offs and sub-series.
Yeah.
Each episode giving around 2.5 hours of gaming goodness, and that's nearly 40 full days of content for you. We have joining us David Turner of the Computer Game Show podcast. Hiya, David.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm absolutely buzzing to be here. No one ever invites me onto their podcast, so I'm super excited.
We'll have to make you recurring now. We feel sorry for you. Just every other week is the Dave Turner show. Done.
Is that how you started, Dan? Did you get invited on as a special guest and now you're not allowed to leave?
Yeah, Dan ran his own podcast for years and then felt sorry for me and just went, right, that's it, we're doing games now. You talk shit about games.
Yeah, that's what I did with the people I podcast with.
On that, David, like I said, so we'll get into the meat of the episodes shortly, but yeah, tell us about your podcast. If you were going to give us the pitch for it, what is your show?
It's funny because we had an idea of what we wanted to do. We'd all done podcasts before, but when we started the Computer Game Show, the main for starters, the title was we wanted to have the most arrogant title we could possibly have as a gaming podcast, and calling ourselves the Computer Game Show as if there was no other computer game podcast was the perfect one to land on. If you want to listen to it's a 2-hour, 2.5-hour weekly podcast about the world of video games, news, reviews, and everything. But we're not afraid to argue with each other. We listen to a lot of gaming podcasts, and I love them. This isn't a diss of any other gaming podcast, but I listen to a lot of gaming podcasts, and there's a lot of nodding and agreeing.
Yeah.
And I just thought I can't be like that with anyone, let alone my closest friends. So we sort of decided that the gloves are off when we record a podcast, and if we don't agree with each other, then we'll lay into each other as long as we understand at the end of the day it's all for fun. But that's sort of the pitch. We always say, if someone says, "Oh, should I listen to the podcast?" we always say, listen to 10 episodes before you stop, because a lot of it won't make sense. We still refer back to things that happened in the first 10 episodes, but
there's a lovely dynamic between you guys. When you talk, I was watching a couple of episodes before this, and I think one of your co-hosts has gone missing for a little bit, and just ripping the shit out of him.
But this, ultimately, it's an excuse to force me to talk to my three best mates every week. So we are all mates, but I think that allows us to lay into each other a little bit more. But James is always taking time off the show, and it's getting a little bit much, to be honest with you. We're considering whether to let him go or not, but I shouldn't. You can cut that, right?
Consider this an audition, Dan. Consider this an audition.
Yeah, if you're looking for another, as long as I don't have to edit anymore.
But on that, you started it really early. Sort of, if we're going to call it the podcast bandwagon, really hit sort of 5 years ago with COVID. But you've been going for pretty much almost 10 years now. So
amazing.
Yeah, what was it back then? Yeah, that made you.
Well, we started podcasting. Well, I started podcasting myself around early 2007, late 2006. Wasn't successful, but I did a show called Joypod. Which was again about video games with a friend of mine called Michael, who I met on RLLM UK forum. Have you heard of that place? it's a very vicious video gaming forum, but it sort of rose out of the ashes of the Edge forums. The magazine used to have their own forums. There was a huge argument, lots of internet drama as it was back then, and then Rollmuck came out of that, and I met Michael. We started podcasting back then, and then I had my first son in 2014. So we stopped the podcast JoyPod, and then Michael went on to do other things. He got involved in the world of board games, and he moved to America, so it's hard to sort of set up a new podcast with him. So people that had been on JoyPod, say Sean Bell and James Farley and Matt Murray, we sort of decided to make our own new thing, start from scratch rather than try and continue what we did on that pod, and then set up the computer game show. And then when we set it up, it was just before the Switch launched. So it was called the NX back then. I don't know if you remember, everyone was calling it the NX before we knew what it was really called. And we just, again, like as I said, it was an excuse to meet up and make sure that we chat about video games and have a laugh together. And it wasn't until I suppose it was just before COVID hit, we started sort of taking off a little bit and doing live shows and meeting up with listeners and doing things like that. But then when COVID hit, it sort of really gave us a chance to focus on areas of, because you've got more time, you're not commuting, so you get a little bit more time to work on stuff. And then you're also getting inspired from some of the things that you're watching. I mean, Twitch changed completely during COVID. That went from, you went on that website and it was people playing games, which it still has now. But the amount of work that people put into their Twitch shows in that period was absolutely mind-blowing, and it sort of really opened up a lot of doors and inspired ideas and stuff. So we just started exploring what we could do with bits and pieces like that. But regardless of that, the podcast has sort of been the thing that we've always focused on. That's sort of that's I don't want to call it a flagship because I sound like Matt Murray from the pod, but yeah, no, that's the sort of staple. That's what holds it together.
I was trying to find some earlier episodes earlier on today, and I was scrolling down through your YouTube history, and I think my mouse just gave up and went, I can't go any further. It's just too much for me. There's so much here. It's so prolific, like the stuff you've got. I'm in awe. It's incredible.
Yeah, there's loads on there, and they all got about 50 views. So the YouTube thing didn't really take off for us, but thanks.
YouTube hates everybody. Unless your name's Mr.
Beast. But that's the other thing as well. Like, so when we first started podcasting, back in the JoyPod days, it's funny because you hear people starting up podcasts now, and I think they focus on the end game too quickly. What was so great about the first year or so that we did JoyPod, we were getting under 100 listens, and when we broke that 100 listener mark, it was like, oh my god, what the hell's up? We are massive now. And I sort of like that because we didn't care. Like we instead of focusing on how many more listeners could we get, it was more about how fun can we make the show and what can we do to make it something that we want to do. So that was cool, and we've sort of taken that into the computer game show. We get tons of feedback about how we can improve or branch out or whatever, and it's I think we're trying to keep it to a level where we're just enjoying showing up every Monday night, rather than worrying about stuff that we maybe I don't want to force ourselves to do, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I love that audience interaction piece you've got going on, where you refer back and answer questions that people have posted from the previous episode and really engage with your listeners. And then you've got the chat coming down where you're able to answer, stuff on the fly. It's brilliant. I love all that.
I think some of those names are made up as well. I'm going to be honest.
But our full Nels crew, I think some of them might be made up, but I don't want to say that just in case, because I've just got a feeling someone will go, no, that's my real name actually.
Are they all James out in Japan. Just
yeah. My name is Savage North actually. So could you not? Yeah, no, that the interaction stuff for the listeners is great.
Kid, isn't it?
Because they seem to like get what we're doing. Because a lot, we are quite aggressive with our listeners. We will shout at them and have a pop at them and stuff. But
Gamers deserve it, though. They deserve everything they get.
And we do as well. So we get a lot of that stuff back. But I think 90% of the time it's from listeners that sort of get the vibe of the show. It's a bit antagonistic, and they're on board with it. I love it.
But you've also done the thing I stumbled across on your website was the Marvel Calls podcast. And I'm going to be honest, I was I found that hilarious. I was in London on Sunday. I was waiting for my wife to come out of an exhibition that she was visiting, and so I'm sitting on a bench outside the V&A Museum listening to your one on Iron Man and just how angrily annoyed you were getting, not about anything. So bear in mind, we're talking about a film where a man like flies and superheroes, and you were more annoyed about the shrapnel moving to his heart, and you just couldn't let that go. And I was just laughing. I think the person on the bench next to me went up and sat somewhere else.
So we did 3 calls series. It started it was Dark Calls, and the idea was James Farley had never played Dark Souls, and I had completed it the year before, but I completed it and then put it down, and that was it. A year went past, and then we started this podcast where James had to play Dark Souls, but he wasn't allowed to look anything up. So he wasn't allowed any guides, nothing. All he could do was call me when he needed help, and then we recorded those calls and put them out. And so that was fun. And then he suggested, I think it was he that suggested, what if we did a roles reverse thing where he's the expert on that and I'm calling him. And I'd never seen the Star Wars. I was 32 when we did that one. I'd never seen the Star Wars film. And so I said, right, I'm going to watch all the Star Wars films. And then he's a massive Star Wars fan. So I watched all the Star Wars films and we went through those. And then I don't know what we were thinking, but a couple of years ago, we sort of said, let's do another Calls series. So we did Marvel Calls. And again, I think I'd seen like 2 Marvels films in my life. And then we did all of them in secret and announced it at our live show that we were doing. This podcast was already recorded and coming out. And it was a brilliant experience. I don't know how we did it because we were recording TCGS, Marvel Calls. And there's one episode actually where I don't know if you're going to continue listening to it, but that Ant-Man episode is a complete mess. And the reason for that is that we were on a strict schedule. We had to finish by the time we had our live show in Sheffield. So we were all working towards watching Endgame by the time we were getting there. So that was like 24 films, 22 films, something like that. Yeah. And James went on holiday for a week. So he said, what are we going to do? So I watched one film and then watched Ant-Man. And then we said, right, we're going to record 2 episodes in a night. So I rewatched, I think it was one of the Thor films. Right. So I rewatched the Thor film and just before we started recording. But all that did was push all of the Ant-Man out of my head, and I couldn't remember anything about it. And I'm reading my notes, and I couldn't even remember the characters' names. And I was saying, what was it? Douglas walked into who plays Ant-Man? Paul Rudd. They were called Rudd and Douglas throughout the whole episode. And I think by the end of it, I think I even say this is the worst thing I've ever done. It's so bad.
I'm listening to that tomorrow. That's the next one I'm listening to.
They are quite fun, and it's the perfect example of how me and James argue about every little detail. There's like the first Avengers film, there's a scene where Nick Fury is on a helicopter and the helicopter crashes, and just before it hits the ground he steps out of it.
Right at the beginning.
And I'm going, but you can't, that doesn't work. You can't just step out of a falling helicopter. Your knees would shatter. And James was trying to convince me, James has a PhD, right? He was trying to convince me that you could jump out of a helicopter just before it hit the ground and you'd survive. And I lost my head.
I admire his patience in that one because, like I said, I listened to the first couple. It was Iron Man and Hulk, and it was just the things you were getting attached to, and I could always hear his like. I
like the way your biggest problem with Avengers is him stepping out of a helicopter before it crashes, not a guy turning into a raging Hulk of id, or someone appearing through a mystical portal from a glowy square. No. The helicopter's the fucking problem, right?
So it was a big pothole that wasn't being discussed elsewhere, and I had big problems with it. I mean,
or a guy with a bow and arrow.
I hated him for the longest time. The worst one. He's the worst one, isn't he?
Well, he hasn't got any powers. Like, everyone else is stepping up the game, and he's like, I'll shoot you with a stick.
And only once in all of the Avengers films, he runs out of arrows. Just once. That was it, and it was played for laughs.
Good, David. He's that good. He doesn't need loads.
He's just learnt that Hollywood trick of infinite bullets. That's what it is. You know, I don't need to reload.
I'm glad you brought them up though, because I was like, I really love doing those. They were really fun. I don't think we'll ever do them again. The only other idea we sort of had was daily calls, where we've got to force each other to call each other for 20 minutes a day, no matter what. Like, no matter what. For a year, we wanted to do it for a whole year, but I think you've got
to do a Marvel sequel. I mean, fuck knows, they're good enough at them. There's so much mileage in the crap they're turning out these days.
Everything,
absolute nonsense they're turning out.
We got to the end of, what did we do? We got to I can't remember the last film we did in that series, but there was some. I know we did the second Black Panther film, and that was terrible. I really didn't like that.
I really struggled for it.
And the Eternals, we did the Eternals. That was another absolute stinker.
Terrible.
And it got to the point where the fun had just drifted away.
Sounds like all Marvel movies, actually, to be fair. You're right.
Yeah.
Just all the joy's gone out of it.
There was a time there where it was so good, wasn't it? And then, I'd missed all of it. So, that was the other thing. That was the other thing about the series, is spoilers if you're going to listen to it. The reason why we started it, or one of the reasons why we started it, is that Harry, my eldest, he's 11 now, was just starting to get old enough to watch better films.
Right.
And at the time, I could have either seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, or one of the Spider-Man films, right? Yeah. That had, the ones that had all the other Spider-Men in it?
Yeah, Tom Holland.
The Tom Holland one.
No, not Far From Home. It was, whatever it was.
Homecoming.
No, Homecoming's the first one.
That was the first one.
No Way Home.
No Way Home
somewhere.
We've gone through all the films now.
Yeah.
And I said, look, do I need to watch like all of the stuff built? And they're going, well, it's all connected. And I thought, well, we went and watched Ghostbusters, and it was sticking in the back of my head because everyone was raving about the Spider-Man film. So I said, right, I'm going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to watch from the start. We're going to record the episodes. I'm going to watch all of them with my son. And then I got to that film, and that film references stuff that wasn't in any of the Marvel films that I'd seen. It was from other Marvel films.
From all the other Sony Spider-Man films.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I've watched 24 films and I still don't know what the fuck's going on.
Oh my God, I can't believe you did. Like, because there's 5 other Spider-Man films you needed to have watched, essentially, to then know what was
Well, and then you've got all the old Fantastic Fours, haven't you, and the X-Men that aren't part of this as well.
Yeah, there's so much mileage in that shit.
But if I say one more thing about this series as well, the first one with the Iron Man, because you mentioned your son watching it, which I also thought had some great moments, because you were saying in Iron Man, it is like, when's the proper Iron Man going to come? Because you're right, because he builds that rubbish suit, doesn't he, in the cave, and it's like, that's not Iron Man, come on.
He's so impatient, that boy. Like, he cannot, he's like, why am I watching this? Where is the Spider-Man from the comic books, Dad? I don't know, mate. I didn't make the film. I don't even know why I asked you. You know that I've not seen that. That's the whole premise of the podcast. And Joe, my wife's going, calm down. And I'm going, no, the boy needs to learn.
That'll teach her.
Brilliant. Well, look, we'll put links in our show notes as well. But absolutely, go listen to anything you find of David's, basically. But the Marvel calls, we'll put a link to access on the website. brilliant fun. So
appreciate that. Thanks very much.
Right. I think the first question we'll ask. So we say it's becoming a tradition, but we generally just say it to ourselves. You're like our fourth guest, I think. So it's that makes it a tradition. Is to ask what we've been playing in the last week or so. So, David, what have you been playing?
Oh, wow. So I have been playing 3 games mainly, but the biggest one is obviously Silksong, Hollow Knight Silksong.
Yeah.
Are both of you playing this?
Not at the moment.
I've got an excuse as to why, which I'll go through when it comes to me, but I have it ready and armed, and I will be. I haven't yet.
So I didn't play the original Hollow Knight. The other presenters on my podcast were big fans of it, but I sort of missed that moment. And I wildly underestimated how popular this game was. Yeah. I had no idea it would start crashing stores worldwide and stuff like that. You know,
it was mad.
Yeah, I know. We were saying last night, what happens when GTA comes out? What goes on now? You might as well, businesses will go down, I think.
Yeah.
On that day.
Just taking a few weeks off.
Yeah, oh, mate, that is, forget about it. I'm definitely going to do that. But so I wildly underestimated it. And I sort of underestimated what the game was as well. I thought it was, I mean, I know it is a big game, but I thought it was insanely big. Like, when I played, what's the other one? Will of the Wisps is the, I can't remember what the prefix is to that. Ori.
Yeah.
Ori and the Blind One. Ori. That feels really expansive and huge and intimidating. Whereas this is way more structured than I thought it would be. Like, it feels more like an Animal World to me than a Ori game. And Animal World is just absolutely incredible. I adored that, and this feels more akin to that in that it's a little bit more condensed, very claustrophobic while you're playing. Like, it's very zoomed in, and you feel really sort of stuck where you are and everything. Obviously, everyone knows how difficult it is. I got to the point on Saturday night where I was done. I couldn't play it anymore. There's a mechanic in the game that I won't go into. I don't want to spoil for everyone. But there's a sort of traversal mechanic in the game that just was beyond me. Like, I couldn't understand it. Oh, it was ridiculous. And I just thought, right, it's really early in the game. It's awful to use. It's not fun. I don't get it. And then there was an opportunity to buy an upgrade that helps with that side of the game. So I was like, right, I'm going to focus on that. Yeah. And you needed 500 beads. Now, only some characters drop 5 beads. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, God, what am I going to do here? And then I got to 400 and then died again in a stupid way. So I lost 400 beads and I was like, I'm done. I can't do this no more. So just before I deleted the game off my Switch, I moved over to the area that I needed to get past. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to sit and really give it a go again and see if I can do it without this upgrade item or whatever. And I nailed it within like 10 minutes. And then that was it. Then I was in. Yeah, I'm locked in.
Then again.
Yeah. And it has that. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Dark Souls. And it's so similar in feeling. You know, I started Dark Souls 12 times and hated it every time and couldn't understand why everyone loved it. And then you get over a hump with it and you're like, this is unbelievably good. Like, I'm really into it. And I'm getting there with Silksong.
But we're still in the opposite camp. We're still in the fucking hate Dark Souls. So shit at it.
It's really tough though, isn't it? And we were talking, we were talking on my show last night. Age is a big thing, right? Because it's not like you're slow or anything, you know, all right, that's all part of it. But also, I think just way less patient with games.
So much less.
Yeah.
And if you've had kids, like, because that eats your patience, like, you know, like a Kit Kat. You're like, fucking, I have no patience anymore whatsoever. So put a game like that in front of me.
We've said so many times like that. I really want to love them, but like I said, time is precious now. And I don't want to spend.
Wrong podcast, dude.
What's that? The games, Dark Souls. Okay. What were you talking about?
Sorry.
No, I really want to love Dark Souls. So, you know, Souls-like. But my time, I get an hour, 2 hours on the Xbox in a night. I don't want to spend 3/4 of that getting like frustrated and smashing the controller up because I can't get past the tutorial or what have you. So, you know, it's...
Also, my kids love it when I get worked up or frustrated over something. And I don't know if you've seen these TikTok videos of people doing these challenges, Cool Boy and Hasnan, and you know, there's all these characters doing these challenges in I believe it's in India, where they've got to throw like balls in cups and stuff.
Yes,
and the guy behind when they're doing it, the guy behind the camera goes, "Very tough challenge," like that. My youngest 6-year-old, while I'm fighting a boss, will just shout that at the top of his, "Oh, very tough challenge." And I'm like, mate, just stop, because this is absolutely destroying me right now. I'm on the edge. You never had that when you were a kid. You just stuck sitting in your bedroom just doing it. No one bothered you.
Well, that frustration and difficulty was part of the course in games back then, wasn't it? And we just dealt with it. But now it's just, it's beyond me.
Anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Mine have a habit when I'm right in the middle of like a boss battle or something going on, they just walk in front of the TV to ask me a question.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I get that all the time.
You can ask me from there. I'm not going to answer you still, but don't stand in front of the fucking television while I'm...
But do you have that moment? I'd say it's about 10 seconds after you said that, you have that moment of going, "Oh, it's a fucking video game. What am I doing?"
Real life. And maybe I shouldn't have been so harsh.
My kids.
I've just written them out in my will because I lost that fight.
They were never in my will. But but it is a concern. I do wonder how far I'm going to get into it before I go, "No, this is actually beyond me now." Hopefully it won't. Hopefully it keeps it up.
Well, they're going to patch it and make the enemy slightly easier early on.
Yeah,
so, you know.
I'm already past those fucking enemies. So cheers, Team Cherry or whatever it is. Thanks for that.
No
you waited until
whatsoever.
I got past that.
All right, so it's a Silk song for David. Was there anything else, or do you say that's the main one?
So that was the main one. I'm playing Helldivers 2 because it's now on Xbox. I was a massive fan of it when it came out on PlayStation, but all my friends play on Xbox. Yeah. So I get to play that a game that I really, really love with my friends again. So that's cool. And Shinobi Art of Vengeance, which is...
Yeah, I've got to blame you for me getting that, because I was listening to your last episode and you were raving about it, and so I played the demo and that got me to buy it because it wasn't even on my radar. So yeah,
really,
yeah.
I mean, that's it. I mean, who would have thought that in 2025 Shinobi would be amazing?
I'm waiting for ninjas are coming back, and
Ninja Gaiden's
just.
The last minute, Sony games on PlayStation, Sony games on Xbox, Xbox games on PlayStation, and a new Shinobi game. What year is this?
It's crazy. It's crazy, but I just think it is one of the coolest games I've ever played. Like, it's just so cool in terms of music and style and visually, and even gameplay it's just a really cool game to play. And I'm sort of gutted that I had to stop it to jump on Silk Song, which is, it's funny because on paper they're very similar games, even though Shinobi's is way more action focused. It's not really it's not at all a Metroidvania, whereas Silk Song is more traditional in that way. But like they're going for totally different things. Shinobi is like, how do I make everything as cool as possible, as quickly as possible? I want you to do everything you're doing. I want it to feel amazing. Whereas like Hollow Knight's all about building up an atmosphere and building up. You start off as quite a weak character fighting things, and you unlock movesets, and it sort of builds and feels satisfying in that way. So yeah, it's been interesting sort of playing both side by side. I think it would have been better if I played Hollow Knight first and then Shinobi second, because that instant gratification after you've built up is that's what you want, but it's not the way they were released. But are you enjoying it, Dan? Is that...
Well, no, I've not actually started it yet, so that'll probably be on what we've been playing next week. But
cool.
but I downloaded the demo because I wasn't sure. But like I said, it just felt good, didn't it? The way it controlled, the way it looked, it just is a cool game. So yeah, it's
very cool, and it keeps it up. So I'm excited to hear what you think of honestly. The Neo City level is just one of my favourite levels I've played in anything recently. It's so good. So I'm interested to hear what you think of it when you play it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Dan, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Wordle. And fuck it. Right, so explanation time. So I'm having my lounge re-kitted out, and finally the flooring went down on Monday, and I managed to get all the furniture back in last night, including all of my technology, which actually sat around me in the office not plugged in. So I haven't been able to play anything, which was very sad times for me. And I was literally watching paint dry as I decorated. So, it was just bullshit. So, but this evening I did manage to, before we started recording, I did manage to run through the demo of Metal Eden, because it was do I buy it? And I must admit, I was messaging Dan halfway through it, and I was like, I'm not sure, it's not hooked me yet. And then I got to the end and they introduced a few more mechanics and stuff. And I was like, actually, I really like this. And it's only 5 or 6 hours long. It's not, so I think I'm going to get that. And then I've just bought a bunch of stuff that's just sitting in the back catalogue. So I've already downloaded Silksong. I'm waiting to play. I've got the Shinobi demo. I'm waiting to play. I also spun up the first 20 minutes of Chronos New Dawn this evening. So I watched a bunch of cutscenes. It's basically as far as I got. And then the kids walked in and I was like, I probably shouldn't play this in front of them. It's quite horrific. But it does seem like it's going to scratch that kind of Dead Space itch. It's very Dead Space to start with. And even the opening section and like the kind of how you interact with the machine at the beginning is like, fucking, this is just like Isaac. Like, but brilliant with it. And Bloober Team are amazing anyway. So, yeah, so that was, I'm really looking to get cracking on that. And then I've pre-purchased Borderlands 4 because I like that insanity from that. So I'm going to Friday.
Oh, wow. This year for gaming is just phenomenal. Off the charts, isn't it?
This moment in time, so many good things coming out.
So good.
Yeah.
We do a big Game of the Year show at the end of the year where we each have to nominate 4 games for the Game of the Year, and they all go into a hat, and we pick them out one by one, and the 4 of us have to vote on which one goes through to the next round. Right. And then about this time of year, I might have 5 games that I want to nominate for that. I looked at my list last night. I've got 12 on there at the moment that I think is worthy of making it to that show. So I've not.
And there's a bunch of big stuff coming up as well, right? So
really, yeah. I mean, there's a game called Mixtape, which I think has the potential to be my game of the year. I can't wait for that. I'm a big Battlefield fan, so that's coming out soon. And then Call of Duty, there are tons of games coming out that I'm still like really excited for.
There's Ghost of Yotai. There's so much stuff.
Ghost of Yotai, yeah, of course. Lumines Arise is another one that I'm super excited for.
You mentioned that a few times on your pod, don't you?
Yeah. I'm I'm so late to Lumines. I didn't play it on the. I never owned a Vita or a P. Well, I owned a PSP, but I never played Lumines. I think it came out on the original PSP. I can't remember. Anyway, it wasn't until I think they bought it to Game Pass for the. Like maybe the last generation of Xbox consoles. So I played it on that and I was like, this is crap. This is rubbish. I don't get it, And then it clicked and I was like intense. And then when they released it for the Switch, that was it. I think I've racked up about 150 hours on that game. It's disgusting. So the new Lumines game is very exciting. I cannot wait to get stuck into that one. Yeah, it's good.
I think Dench Attack's going to be the game of the year for me when it comes out.
Yeah.
It looks
Which one? Sorry?
Dench Attack. It's the crazy train. I don't know if you watched the opening night for Gamescom.
We did, yeah.
The pre thing before Jeff Keighley got up, they did a bunch of clips, and there was one called Dench Attack, and it's basically you play a ollie kick flipping tube train. And you're doing wall runs and going on, and it looks mad, and it just looks insane, and I was just like, that's it all day long, even just on the trailer.
I'm just going to say, for Game of the Year, you're both saying it wrong. You're both saying Expedition 33 wrong. I don't know why.
Oh, right, yeah. I thought I knew that was where you were going. Yeah.
Well, I mean, top of my list at the moment, I don't know if you've played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Not yet. I've got it in my backlog.
I've seen so much about it.
It is so disgustingly good that it scares the life out of me. And it might be the first game that I go into Game of the Year show thinking, I want this to win, that I haven't completed. Because it is like I mean, you can spend 150 hours in that game, and there's enough content there to keep you busy. And I think I've put 60 to 70 hours into it. And I think I'm like 40 hours away from the end if I really.
I don't know where you find the time they do. Like, I struggle finding time to play any kind of. I've got to the point now. I used to love long games, and I've got to the point now where I hate them. Not because they're bad, but because I just cannot find the time to play them.
I'm totally with you. Like if a game comes along, like we reviewed, And Roger and Time Flies, which are two indie games, and the biggest thing, they're about 2 hours long. I'm like, brilliant, that's perfect. I can blitz through that and really enjoy it and have it as a whole experience. With Kingdom Come, it is not a game that I would normally go for.
We've lost him.
Do we stop or do we carry on?
No, let's carry on. He'll slot himself back in. I've got WhatsApp open. I'll see what's going on.
Okay.
If not, we got something for the blooper reel. He's that upset with you. He's
oh, fuck off. 2 hour games.
He's gone to play a game now to get it started.
But with Kingdom Come, I think what I found was that if I don't focus on trying to get to the end, I can just play it in little sections and just enjoy the little side stories as and when I'm playing through it.
There he is.
You're back. I just assumed I offended you with my chat about 2 hour games.
History.
Really?
We said
never had my internet chooses tonight to just bounce.
I said you're either that angry with him or you've gone off to get a head start on a game.
I've gone off to play some stuff.
He mentioned 2 games that were only 2 hours long. I'm off. I can get that done tonight.
Apologies, my internet just went.
But talking about game length though, so I'm reviewing. So we do reviews on a Friday. We've got game reviews, and we get them from a site where they give us keys. And one of the games is, I think Dan, you pointed out when I said, "Do you want this?" You looked at the description first, and what did it say? It was like medium length game, 2 hours.
Yeah,
it's like.
I was like, I was like, what's a short game? I don't even think it was 2 hours. I think it was like an hour.
It was an hour.
And it was like the medium length game. It was an hour.
I think it's taken me 2 hours because I've had a couple of restarts. But
was that the Wordle game you were talking about earlier? Because it usually takes me longer than an hour.
On that, last 2 days, I've got it second go. I don't know what I've been doing, but in the history, I've never ever done that. Normally, I get through 5, and I'm like, I've failed. Last 2 days.
Sony when they announced a HD remake of that. I'm looking forward to that next year.
What, Wordle?
Yeah.
On your PlayStation.
They want to HD remake everything, don't they? It doesn't work anymore, Sony. They're not HD remakes. We've had HD for a while now.
I'm waiting for the Last of Us. They remake that several times.
If Wordle comes to console, the way it'll be is consonants will be free, but the vowels will be DLC or something like that, or the other way around.
Take that, publishers. Yeah. Or like a dagger to the heart, was it? Yeah, we ain't afraid to go there.
Well, we will. But I just want to mention the game I've played this week because it again. I didn't know about this. I saw it on the shop, bought it on impulse. So it's like Are you sure? It was like £15. It was like one of these sort of like indie games. It's called Heading Out. No, it's called Heading Out.
Okay.
And I'm loving it right now. Oh, do you know this, David?
What are you playing it on? Sorry,
Xbox. Now,
Xbox, okay.
I found it difficult initially to explain. I found a review on the Xbox Hub that sums it up perfectly, and I'm going to quote them. They said, "I like a game that's really hard to explain in review, but makes perfect sense when you play it. It's part narrative folklore game, part racing game, part police escape game, part survival sim. It's a roguelike, choose your own adventure type." All mixed in one. And it looks like Sin City, not Sim City. Sin City, so it's like a black and white game. Yeah. And you're racing across America to race the best racer in America, but you're also escaping from your own fear. And it's bizarre, but it's brilliant when you're playing it.
Do you know what, Dan? It feels like every episode you have some sort of stroke and mention some game that has got some random thing. What was the last one? Roundabout. Yeah, so you're in a car and it just spins round. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Hold on. Do you think Dan actually he invents these games, uploads loads of screenshots to Google so that if you Google it, it looks like it exists?
The problem is, Dave, because I do all the editing, what happens is I inevitably have to go away and go down a rabbit hole to find this game, and he's fucking right. It is there. It does exist. And I'm like, I still remember it.
But this one is great. You're going from like city to city and you're racing those bits, but you'll either come across somebody who wants to race you for money. There'll be radio stations that got the GTA vibe with like the very either left or right sort of political commentary, etc. You've got sort of the choose your own adventure will be you'll come to a point and it'll be like a static image story that you've got to pick your response to it, and you might get fame. It's just a really good game. And like I said, I love finding those games that sort of come out of nowhere that you don't know about, and that just grab you.
There's nothing better than having those sort of moral choice sort of decisions in games. I miss that, and I think it's we were big fans of Life is Strange on our show.
Yeah,
until that. Life is Strange Double Exposure come out, we absolutely hated it. And so it's a shame that it doesn't seem that those games are, I think, becoming less popular. I don't think they'll fully go away. I think we'll get there was it As Dust Falls a couple of years ago on Xbox was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that we see a follow-up to that. So I think maybe the genre's going in a different direction, but there is nothing better than playing a game and having a choice like that and going, what do I do? So what do I do? Having to pause it and go,
I was going to ask you about Life is Strange because I know you did a series on Double Exposure. I love those games, but it has been, for me, it's felt like diminishing returns since the first game, ultimately. Like the first game was the pinnacle, it felt like.
Right. I see, because I think we as a group, it sounds like we're a cult, but I think we all sort of agreed amongst us that we liked Life is Strange season 2 more, because I think it was the
brothers,
the Diaz brothers. I think it was less cringy in the dialogue, which I think helped because as much as I love Life is Strange, some of the dialogue is absolutely outrageous. But then I really liked Before the Storm. I thought it was beautifully done. And True Colours was okay, but a step down. But I could not wrap my head around Double Exposure. I mean, that last episode was absolutely appalling. Like, it was so bad. And the fact that there was reports last week saying that they're going to do a follow-up to it is mind-blowing to me. Absolutely mind-blowing to me.
Read the room.
Yeah, totally.
Did you play? I think you did. Did you play? Is it Rage and Bloom?
I played about an hour of the first episode, and I hated it so much that I could not go back to it.
I was thinking there's got to be a payoff at some point. It didn't really.
No. I know James finished it and said it was just truly awful, so he didn't recommend carrying on with it. But it's a shame. But I think if you're listening to this and you like that style of game and you've not played As Dust Falls, then I think it's on Game Pass. I mean, that's the step in the direction you want to take. It's so good. And again, I mean, it's not the same style of game, but Disco Elysium, were you fans of Disco Elysium?
We talked about that last episode because I started it and didn't get very far into it.
Right. I mean, it is a struggle. I do want to pick
up again. Yeah,
it's a big struggle to get your head around the world and dialogue and the way everyone's talking and understanding the score checks. But when you get through that, the moral choice stuff in that and the impact it has on the world around you is just unbelievable. It's so good. Those games will always be about, and I'll always want to play them. But I think Life is Strange might actually be dead now, and that's actually quite sad. Happens to that.
I'm gonna interrupt our questioning because this was going to be the first proper question, but I've realised we've been going for almost 45 minutes now, and we're still in the pre-bit. But we did have a question. This was going to be the first question. This is from a listener of ours who has got a question for you, David.
Hello. I have a question for David Turner. David, you are one of my 4 favourite hosts on the Computer Game Show podcast. You have many guest hosts that come on, and I wondered, who is your favourite guest host on the Computer Game Show? Thank you.
So huge thank you, obviously, to Ian Lee there, and that's his second appearance. So once more, and he becomes a co-host, I think. Dan,
it's a mug.
So,
yeah. Don't tell him that. He'll ask for a fee. I know what he's like.
That question feels very loaded as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we have some amazing guests. Neil Tomlinson, Ellie Gibson. Anytime we have Ellie on, she's absolutely amazing. We had Imogen Meller on recently. She was absolutely fantastic. We have regulars like Sarah Dyer and Sean LeBeau. Brilliant guests, brilliant. So I think if any others that have been on the show that I like and are good, I can't really struggling to think of any up. No, I think that's it. Actually, I think I've covered everyone that I want to mention.
Oh dear. Well, we were going to bring him in, but I think we won't bring him in now. So he's been
keep him in the green room. Keep him in the green room.
Don't bring him in.
He was very nice. He sent us a video, which we'll have in the version that goes out. But yeah, right, there you go, Ian. That's your answer. Yeah.
He's the best. Honestly, he's done so much for our podcast. Like really, just promoting it and then giving us advice and helping us out when we did our first sort of standalone. We used to do lots of live shows at expos like EGX and Rezzed and stuff like that. And when we first did our own standalone sort of thing, which, believe it or not, was a day of Laser Quest followed by a live show in Sheffield.
Awesome.
Like he was such a big help. He came along and he came on stage and stuff. And so I hate the man, but also I love the man. So
legend. Yeah,
he's a good guy.
Right. So where do you want to go, Dan?
I'm enjoying what we're doing so far, but I think we could prime it, right? So let's talk a bit about your history, Dave. Like when did you get into gaming? What was it? Look, I since I was a kid, right? Like Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum, like all the way through, and I think Dan's very similar, albeit slightly behind me because he's younger. Where were you? I'm not jealous.
It's funny. I think there's 2 levels of it, right? So I think when you first start gaming, so I first started gaming when I was very young. My dad used to. It was always. The way I always describe it, he was about 7 years behind the world of technology because he was getting stuff people were chucking in the bin, right? And he was sort of saying, no, I'll take that. I'll bring that home for the kids. So when my first console that I remember playing was the Atari 2600. Now that came out before I was born, but it was in the house because someone was chucking it away on the street or whatever. So we were playing loads of Pac-Man, the worst version of Pac-Man that you can think of, and Pitfall and stuff like that. And then we moved on to the Atari ST, and I always loved playing games. Like it was always like a sort of obsession. I remember sitting down with my dad and playing Double Dragon. And just thinking this is the best thing ever. Like I love it, and also arcades at that time were actually good to go in.
Yeah,
they weren't focused around getting tickets. It was. I remember going to Seaside Towns and playing like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cab or the Simpsons game and stuff like that. And
all the Konami stuff is amazing.
Yeah, it just so good. But I like. It's funny, I think you have that period and you love it. And I think some people move on, but then some people hit the next level of that. And for me, it was the first time I played on an N64.
Right.
So I wasn't that young. I would have been 14 or 16 or something like that, around that age. And I remember being at my friend Adam's house and sort of, I wasn't really playing many video games at the time. We had like a SNES and a Mega Drive, but we weren't really hammering it. We weren't playing too much. I think what used to happen is, you used to get like one of these consoles at Christmas, but then never be able to afford a game. So we just sit there with like maybe one game next to it for ages. And then I remember being around my friend Adam's house, and he said, I've got an N64 upstairs. And I went upstairs, and it was like he'd flown over to Japan and broke into a lab and stole this piece of technology and it blew my fucking mind. Like, I could not believe Mario was running around the flower bed and something popped out of the middle of it. Like, that was, I just remember thinking, and I remember going down for dinner, like his mum gave us dinner, and I remember thinking, just fucking get through this and go back upstairs. Like,
chipsticks and waffles, and just let me
like,
get on.
Really,
you had the worst indigestion of your life.
Yeah, I just smashing it down because I'm like, I need to go back up and see Mario run around that flower bed again. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my shit. And then I can't remember how long it was after that, but I asked for it for Christmas. My parents couldn't afford it. So I got a paper round and did that thing about, a couple of weeks before Christmas. Oh, Merry Christmas from your paper boy.
Yeah.
Just hold your hand out towards the old lady and you get $5 or whatever. And then because you do so many houses, that like really adds up. So I sort of got all that money and gave it to my parents and go, is this enough? And then that Christmas, I got my N64, and that took it to a whole nother level. That was when I got my N64 for Christmas that year. I remember, so I would have been 14, I think, or 15. Okay, that's not important. I played it and I thought, no, this is it. Like, I love everything about doing this,
It was
playing
such a leap, wasn't it? Like a fully functional 3D camera in a Mario. I mean, I remember first seeing it at a local Toys R Us. They used to do the old display models.
Yeah.
And it was running. There was literally a queue of kids, like, wanting to play on it. Like, they didn't care about anything else, like hundreds of thousands of toys around the shop. They just were queuing up to play this thing. And I eventually got a turn. And it was, that controller, like how you held it and the sticking. And it was just like, it was like Pandora's box. It was like, I just got to get into it. And it was phenomenal.
It didn't feel real. It didn't feel real. No. It felt alien. It felt like it come from another planet.
Totally.
And it's funny because people say now, and they're right, that era of gaming has not aged well. Like that first step into the world of 3D gaming, you play any first person shooters from that era now, absolutely appalling. Like you can't control them, and they're right. And there's a lot of people that say SNES games look better than N64 games. Yeah, I can see that. Right, they're more stylized, but you cannot get past that moment where you go, no, suddenly you're in this world. And it didn't start with the N64, but that was when I saw Nintendo add their magic to that stuff.
Yeah, it was a tipping point for it. Yeah.
Absolutely blew my mind. So from there, that was it. All of my friends were into GoldenEye, so we used to get together. We'd have several. You couldn't do network gaming, but it would be you'd still have 2 or 3 people playing.
And the 4 screen,
Yeah, we'd have split screen with 4 of us, but there'd be like 3 tellies in someone's. We'd drag our tellies to our friend's house. So because there was more than 4 of us all playing this game, and then we'd have tournaments across and all this sort of stuff. And then that just went from there, like to the next level. So PlayStation, we were using the iLink cable to play 8-player stuff, and then Halo come along, and that was like another huge step. And it was like, fucking hell, like where is this going to end? And then Xbox Live come out, and that was
game changer.
That was a game changer. That was we don't have to. I remember a friend of mine, Blake, lived in Bermondsey. And I remember during the Halo wars, the Halo time, those on that battleground. I remember dragging a 32-inch CRT television onto a train.
Wow.
The fucking thing weighed a ton. Took it onto a train to Bermondsey, and he met me the other end, and his cousin had a car, so he was the coolest. And we put it in the back of his car, drove to his cousin's place, and we played Halo multiplayer across 4 tellies, I think it was, for over 24 hours straight. Like it was. I think when you get, I don't want to focus on age or whatever, but I recently turned 40, and I think when you get there, you get way more nostalgic for your teen years.
Totally.
You remember.
Totally.
It's what this podcast's all about.
Right. And you sort of forget all the horrible. Well, you don't forget about it, but you sort of focus on the good side of those years. And that I'm really struggling with at the moment. I think back to those times where it was like, playing those games and how every new release seemed like more exciting than the last.
All day long.
I fucking loved it. I loved it. And that's what sort of got me into the world of, that's what made me go, no, this is a hobby for life now. This isn't just something that we do in the house every now and then. And, oh, there's a new Mario Kart out, I'll give that a go. That's like, no, I'm going to get every medal in it.
Yeah. So just an addiction.
Yeah.
Totally.
Do you still like playing the retro kind of things, or is it?
I don't play them. No, not really. I've got a Miyu Mini. Have you seen those little handheld things? And I do go through them. I think it is hard to go back at times. You know, I remember being obsessed with Toy Story on the Mega Drive, and you go back to it and go, "Wow, this doesn't even make sense at this point. Like, I don't understand what the game's even asking me to do, and why." I've always sort of been the sort of person that plays the latest stuff that comes out. And as much as I sort of am nostalgic for things in the past, I like to sort of keep them there and remember them. Although I did play Banjo-Kazooie not too long ago, and I was like, no, this is still brilliant. I'm still well on board with it there.
Peak Rare, I don't think you'll ever beat Peak Rare. Before they got obsessed with pirates, I think, they were just, do you know what I mean? They were just
I think they were told to get obsessed with pirates. That's the sad thing.
Sorry, before Microsoft really told them.
They were really happy that they didn't have to work on avatars anymore. So I think they were buzzing with that.
You said there, David, right? Really rings true with me because, so as Dan said, I had a Commodore 64 at the time. That was my first computer and I loved it. But this was back in the day where like you could churn out loads of games, and I think they were like the $1.99 game, that you could buy from the newsagent. And a couple of games, even though, that they were bought new, so they had the inlay and everything. A couple of games I didn't know what the hell I had to do. I didn't get off the first screen. Short Circuit was one, and I think the Nightmare game. I didn't actually know what to do in the game. It's like, how can you buy a game and not know what you're supposed to do?
Everyone's a Wally. That was my problem with one of mine. Like, it was just, I don't know what I'm doing this because I'm going to have to go and find clips of this shit. But those games where you just go, I'm playing it, but I'm just moving about a screen, not really understanding what's going on.
I mean, the demo disc era is something that you will never. I'll tell my grandkids, I'm telling you, and they're going to think that I've lost it. But no, they had little bits of games on a disc on the front of a magazine, and when you found, I remember like me and my mates got obsessed with two games that no one really heard of after. Was Airblade on the PS2, which was. Yeah, it was like Tony Hawk's, but on a hoverboard.
Yeah, I remember
we bought the full game. We spent so many hours on that. It wasn't until we came away, because, the internet wasn't about as much back then. It wasn't, forums weren't flooded. There's no, social media in any of that. And so you thought, well, Airblade's the biggest game in the world. And then you grow up and look back and go, no one remembers it. And it sold about 20 copies. And the other one was Outlaw Volleyball. We thought that was like a mind-blowing video game. And it turns out we were the only ones that cared. Little bit of trivia here. Outlaw Volleyball was a crazy volleyball game with a crazy commentator. Steve Carell was the commentator on that. Yeah, really odd. I looked back at it not too long ago. I was like, Steve Carell, what? And then when you watch clips of it on YouTube or whatever, go and search up Outlaw Volleyball or whatever, it's his voice, obviously. Wow. And you're like, oh my God, what the hell? But the one that really sticks out for demo disc was Guitaroo Man on the PS2.
Oh, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh my God, it just... I remember playing that level. Yeah. It was the level where the spaceships come down, and it's got that really cool guitar solo. That was the demo version. But what was annoying is that the demo had, if I remember correctly, the demo was the Japanese version of that song. But if you bought the full game, it was the American version of that song, and it really pissed me off.
It wasn't too good. Yeah.
But I remember playing that demo, God knows how many hours I put into it, because I just kept playing that song over and over again. And when I finally got the full game, I was like, this is heaven. I'm loving it so much. So that's another part of that era that you just missed, right? The
gaming magazines as a whole, I mean, I know you can still get them, but like you said, is waiting that month to get the latest Amiga Power or whatever, because maybe it was a double disc that month, and you got a full game. It might have been like like a shareware game or whatever, but getting those, seeing the letters, what are people asking about the games? Because you didn't have forums. You didn't have anything. You got the walkthroughs, the cheats were in the magazines. But it was those demo discs that you just went crazy over, didn't you?
Yeah, that I love that stuff so much. And there was one that really sort of was a big influence for me was a magazine called PSM2 about PlayStation 2. And they didn't have demo discs because they weren't an official magazine or anything. So they used to have clips of games that were coming out, and they were just videos of games that were coming out, little gameplay clips. But if you pressed audio option 2 or whatever, it was the staff just chatting over them. And it was just really casual, really funny, just people just chatting over video games. And I was like, I think that really sort of struck a chord with me. And I was like, I fucking love to do that. Like, just chat about games in this sort of casual manner. And a lot of them are, if you want to check them out, a lot of them are on YouTube. Someone uploaded a lot of them. And they're still, you can see the start of the video game podcast sort of tone in those. It's really good.
I'll have to have a look for some of that.
Yeah, it's cool. I'll send you a couple of links. It's really good. Yeah,
cool. What do you think's changed? Like moving away from that era of nostalgia, because Dan and I talk a lot about this. Either it's on here or when we're out walking or whatever. We kind of you go, oh God, I remember that. It was so cool. It was so good. But it feels like, I don't know whether it's gaming's lost a little bit of its soul, and it's I know you're a big Call of Duty fan, but there just seems to be this churn of stuff coming out year after year now. And I think, Ubisoft are guilty of this stuff. And, so are kind of Ravensoft, some of the, the COD stuff. It just feels a little bit on repeat. And so I know I have, and I think Dan has certainly found ourselves turning a bit more to some of the more indie or AA games that aren't afraid to fail and kind of go, do you know what, we'll just throw something out. And if it's a bit shit, it doesn't matter. But quite often, it sticks or it does something brilliant. Who'd have thought a game about scoring high scores in poker hands would have been, done the numbers it did. Do you think, what's your view on, has it lost a bit of its soul? Or is it just we're old?
No, I think the soul is elsewhere. As you say, I think indie games, there is some stuff that goes on in the indie game scene, and I think it comes in waves in indie games. But you see some of the stuff that's going on there. I mean, Time Flies, I played recently, is a really fun game where you play a fly floating around a level, trying to do everything in a bucket list within 50 seconds before you die. Yeah. And it's just a joy to play. Same with Her Story is a really not Her Story. Was it And Roger is a really emotional narrative based game that brings in some gameplay elements to it that really tie into the themes of the game, like in ways that you wouldn't think of. Yeah. You've also got like really imaginative games still coming out from certain developers, like It Takes Two. Which I thought had some incredible moments. It really felt like old school fun, side scrolling, even though it's modern, very modern. There's a lot of money behind it. I think what's happened is that making a game to a AAA standard is way more expensive and more of a risk. And I think developers and publishers, they're less likely, they'll go, right, this now costs this much to make. We need to make sure it's a success. Yeah. So it removes anything that tries to do anything really out there and different, and tries to make it conform into what they know works. Yeah. I think some of the publishers now are coming unstuck with that because budgets for games goes up and also development time for games goes up. So if you say, right, this is massive now, Helldivers 2 did really well, let's make a Helldivers 2 game. Yeah. That's coming out 6 years' time. Is that still going to be popular in 6 years' time? So I think Sony come up unstuck with that recently. That's why we haven't seen too much from them in the past year or so. Yeah. Because they had a real big focus on games as a service, extraction shooter stuff. Yeah. And I think they've come unstuck a bit.
Concord kind of plummeted, didn't it? And all that kind of stuff just went.
And that's a worry as well, because I think when like Concord, I thought was a good game. My opinion was it wasn't different enough from the likes of Overwatch, which people would always. They've already sort of done with that. Overwatch 2 wasn't a massive success, because people had sort of moved on with what they wanted to play. So. My concern is that when they do step away from that, these major games, these AAA games, when they do step away and step out from what they know works, they tend to fail.
Yeah.
And that is just going to concrete these development ideas, the ideas behind these games, into this path of, we need a Call of Duty, we need a Grand Theft Auto, we need a game that works. And that we know that we can be confident that we're at least getting our money back.
Well, we saw that recently, right, with Mind's Eye, who tried to take something evergreen like GTA and create something. And I know they wanted to create this kind of game building, almost Roblox-like thing, and then pared it back and kind of actually release single player. But that, was released and it was an absolute mess when it came out. I mean, fair play to them. They're still trying to fix it, a la kind of Cyberpunk. But even I think it just dug its own grave the minute it came out. That was the problem with it. At least Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red had this history of kind of releasing great stuff with The Witcher and everything. So they had something they could fall back on and go, no, we do care about this stuff and we've got a history. Whereas the guys who developed Mind's Eye was just like, no chance.
But that's the thing. It's about the patience, and sometimes something might have to fail for it to. We said, Dan, in one of our episodes, didn't we, that sort of console failures have built something in the future, or have led to something. And you just said it, Cyberpunk, No Man's Sky. I mean, look at the reaction that had when that came out, and look at it now. I think it's like something crazy, like 160 content updates later or something. So do they have to put? Studios could do new projects, but do they have to pour the billions into it or the millions? That's the thing. They don't have to.
No, they don't have to. I think I think there's an expectation, certainly from Sony and Xbox, to create these big budget. There's always that. Let's try and raise the bar in terms of visuals and what games are. It is superstitial. It's focusing on areas of gaming that I'm not too bothered with. I love a game to look as good as possible, but it's not the stuff that I really fall in love with gaming about. And I think the saving grace is that indie games do this. So I'm not a massive fan of this game, but Outer Wilds is unbelievable as a concept.
It's an amazing game.
And the fact that those games exist and are still coming out is great. And you're always going to have that risk, even as an indie developer. And in fact, actually, sometimes it's worse because they're putting their lives on the line, their personal lives on the line when they're creating these things. But you look at games like Outer Wilds, Hades, and some of the indie titles that have come along in the past 10 years, and you go, okay, well then I don't mind massive, corporations trying to create these AAA games and then being stale if I've still got these games that I absolutely fall in love with that are scale back, smaller budget.
But can you imagine? Sorry, David, I was going to say, can you imagine the frustration? Like Dan, like you said, like Mind's Eye, and you've said David Concord. All these studios pouring these millions and millions for it to fail when you've got games like Gone Home, Firewatch, things like that that have been probably sort of created on a shoestring, but have captured audiences all around the world. So it must be, to be in those boardrooms of those big companies when something like that can happen.
You'd all hope that they sit around there and go, oh, maybe we need to try and find something new. But I think they actually sit there and go, no, let's actually make sure that we don't try anything new.
Copy the bottom line, isn't it? It's always the bottom line. Yeah. Always the bottom line. Like, how do we make the money to shareholders? It's nuts. And that's what pisses me off so much about Microsoft these days, because they can buy a game studio but not have a clue how to run one. And then the next thing is like, we bought this amazing game studio, but we're shutting it down now. Like, the guys who did Hi-Fi Rush was just a phenomenal game. And you just put a faith in those guys to go and do something else. And instead you just go, oh no, we can't afford to run it, sorry.
But I think that's it.
Yeah, and it's horrible that what has happened, and I think it's important to mention as well, as much as we talk about how good the year has been for games, it's not been a great year for the industry. In fact, it's been an awful year for the industry. And it is important to remember that because, it does suck what's going on out there, and we will see the problem. We will see the impact of that five years down the line.
Yeah, agreed.
For sure.
Well, and this is what I was going to say, Dan, going back to your question about, we've said it as well, sort of, do we look back nostalgically because games are bad, or is it age? I think it's age, because as we've got older, plus the industry has evolved, but we've got old enough to see the bad practices that happen. When you're a kid, like your kids won't see those bad practices, right? They're just playing the latest game and they're having fun. Whereas we're seeing these layoffs, these shuttered studios, these failed launches, the crunch, etc. We just see that now, and even more so in the day of the internet and social media. We see behind the curtain all the time now, and that was hidden from us. If it was even happening back then, I'm sure it was. Well, E.T., right?
Was,
E.T., right?
Yeah, I mean, we did a talks over of an absolutely fascinating documentary. I can't remember if it was BBC or ITV. They funded a documentary series where they went to a new industry every episode, and they followed a big player in the industry. And I think it was it Ocean that they followed? I can't remember.
Right, yeah.
Oh, Oceansoft, like the
and it was supposed to be about how great this success story is as this British company, and all the people high up in the company were driving Ferraris to work and all this sort of stuff. And as they were recording the business fell apart.
Collapsed.
And it is unbelievable. If you get the chance, I wish I knew what the show's called, but I'm sure you can find it if you search around. There's a bit in it where they come back from lunch and there are bouncers holding the doors closed to stop them getting back into the office because they can't even afford the rent anymore. Like, it is unbelievable. So yeah, this stuff totally happened.
We just didn't see it, right? And that's
we
the
just
thing.
didn't see it. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Oh, something that.
I don't know. Just stop that. Right.
We'll just take a minute then.
Game to fun.
I guess
little tear rolling down.
Without it sort of falling into cliche, but I guess
I'm going to do an in memoriam and just have
Coldplay during that bit.
But I guess without it being a cliche, back then that was when the games were booming, and we've had stories, on here about execs who wanted to take everything they could out of the games while it lasted. So there was probably that excess happening then, whereas now it's just about shareholders and dividends, right? Isn't it? It's just a different form of kind of, do we say greed? Sort of that's running.
It's always
gaming.
greed, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like fucking.
Yeah.
And talking about bullshit practices, not that I'm prejudging. David, what's your perspective on kind of AI and the current use of all that?
It's a strange one, isn't it? It's something we've spoken about a lot on the pod, and it's what your definition of AI is, because there's tools within the industry that help create the worlds that we love. Yeah. Like, for example, they've used and it's whether you call it AI or not, but they've used software that also generates trees and terrain and stuff like that, and things that probably are actually making devs' lives easier rather than cutting jobs. But I've said this for years, like, all the biggest overheads for companies are staff, and anything they can do to reduce that is a benefit to them. And you've just got to look at supermarkets. When you go back to that era of buying gaming magazines in a supermarket and looking down and seeing a string of tills with a person on every till, and now you go there and it is literally just self-checkout with one person looking over 20 of them. And you just think, wow, that all happened. If all those jobs in this place have gone because of the introduction of that.
In a decade or so, right? It wasn't even a long time. It was
overnight. Like, it was crazy. And you just think, that was like a staple of people coming out of school and saying, right, I'm going to go work in a supermarket to find my feet. And then the opportunity's gone, right? Yeah. And it blows my mind that happened without any real sort of noise about it. And that's just like one small example. I get that, but like, it still blows my mind. AI will do the same in so many professions, and gaming is, of course, one of them. You like to say at this point, voice acting. I've got a lot of friends that work in voice acting, and they're concerned because it's like, well, no, doing certain roles, if they can do that with an AI generated voice and it costs them like a third of what they would pay a voice actor, these companies are going to use that. They're going to do that. So yeah, AI. I hate it. I like making funny videos.
Totally right. Yeah.
But I hate it when it's in place of like someone's job.
Yeah.
Like
I totally agree.
I don't know what the answer is though.
No.
I don't know how you combat that, because the people that are going to use it are using it to save themselves a lot of money, and as much as you want to go, but you're fucking destroying society with this shit.
Yeah.
They don't care because the costs go down.
But you raise a really good point. The thing is, we've accepted it everywhere else. So on our phone, we've got an app for everything, and those apps are taking away people from ticket offices, etc. But we don't think about that because, again, that's really convenient for us, and we're okay with that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Totally,
it's new at the moment. Yeah. I guess the thing with AI is it's new, and like you said, it's everywhere. It's considerably. I did an episode somewhere else talking about how quickly that kind of tech has fallen into, I was going to say, the hands of the normal person, the everyday user. And I think probably that's what's taken people aback, is how fast it's got into general usage. So everyone's doing it to create their own content.
It's so easy. I mean, I a couple of weeks ago, just using the editing software I use, right? And it was, all right, I had to pay for the actual software in the end, but I trained a model for 5 minutes with Dan's voice. And then I was able to talk in my voice, and it sounded exactly like Dan.
Do you know the
Are you both AI now? What's going on?
That's exactly what's going on.
We've swapped our voices over, that's all.
Count to $1 million.
But the crazy thing about that,
they've replaced our real podcasting. That's what they've done.
The crazy thing about what Dan did there, though, it wasn't just like my voice, but it was also like the intonation, wasn't it? It was the way
the whole thing.
It wasn't just
so
the
weird.
sound. It was the creepiest thing watching that.
Scary.
Yeah.
There's this really cool podcast called Criminal, and they put out an episode last week where it was about AI being used as a tool to combat scammers.
Yeah.
So the idea was they created this. I think the character's name was Daisy because it had AI in the name.
Right.
Yeah. And she would answer the phone and it was designed, the AI voice was designed to try and keep the scammer on the phone for as long as humanly possible.
Right.
So it was going, I'm just going to get my card out. And then when they get, I need my glasses now. Let me go and get my glasses and I'll give you the number. And they try and keep scammers on. And and you look at that and you go, great, that's a great use of AI. I like that. But the moment I heard that, I say, oh no, scammers are going to start using AI to make these calls sound even more realistic, and they're going to use it to scam more people. And that's it, man. There is a good side to new technology, and there is always a bad side to new technology. There's totally. No way around it. So,
I'm with you. Right, do it as long as it doesn't fuck over the little man or somebody's, take someone's job or whatever it is, because there's some really good use cases, and then there's some absolute bullshit, to be honest.
Yeah. I think you said you got kids and the homework and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes. Yeah.
So staying on top of that as well, and their use of AI and what works and what doesn't, and how that can be a problem in their lives as well. Growing up is wild to me.
They find anything, we've not even touched the
surface as well.
Sorry, fucking. They're having conversations with Gemini.
All the time, and I don't know if I'm happy with that.
I chuckled then, because the thing about AI though is it still has moments where it's drunk though, because I was on another podcast and we were talking about BioShock game, and I just put into sort of like the internet or I can't remember what AI, I put sort of list of BioShock characters, and it came up with obviously the main one of the main characters in the first one is Jack Ryan, right? Isn't it?
But Andrew Ryan.
Sorry, Andrew Ryan. No, but their son's called Jack. The son.
Fucking you. No,
the son is Jack. Your character is Jack. He's never said Jack Ryan.
Right. Sorry. Right. Yeah.
And it had a picture of the Jack Ryan from the Tom Clancy films. So you've got a list of all these video game characters, and then for Jack Ryan, it's pulled over. I think Harrison Ford. Yeah, we should move on from that now. That's a different podcast.
There's nothing better than when AI goes wrong. I watched a video of someone asking the AI system to create a picture for each letter that has a word, associated with a letter. So house for H, and then it would have a little picture of a house. And it just, after a while, just started making up letters and words. And it kept saying, it was really making me laugh, because every day it would go, for J, it put kite, and just had a picture of a kite. And then later on, for R, it put kite.
I saw one, we're digressing, I saw one on the train today. Somebody asked the question intentionally, how many strawberries does the letter R have? And this AI came back and said the letter R has 3 strawberries in it. And it's like, and this is what we're putting all our trust in.
Yeah, that's what's going to be driving my trains, is it? No, thank you.
Scary. That whole apocalypse might come sooner than we thought, chaps. There might be more content for video game developers to create.
It's been such a cheery episode, isn't it? I've really brought the mood down.
Blame Dan. It's fine.
Okay.
Blame Dan.
Cheers, Dan. Which one?
It's all right. It's all right. No, when Dan when you edit it, just put some sort of comedy music in the background. Just put some comedy music in the background. That'll lift up the mood.
Just go to an AI website. It'll generate
music. Don't talk about a theme tune, Jesus. Right, let's get on to some proper conversation, because we are quite deep in now. So let's ask Dave some friendly questions rather than why is everything so shit in the world?
I've got
what do you think about Trump?
Mario or Sonic? Who wins in a fight?
Is that, do you really want me to ask that? Because I'll fucking answer it. Sonic would absolutely look, Mario, I'm a Mario guy. I wasn't always. I'm a Mario guy. Sonic would beat the shit out of him. Mario's not got a chance against Sonic. It's not even close. What can he do? He'd jump, but by that point, he's turn
into a tanuki. He can
shoot fireballs. He can shoot fireballs.
Yeah, but how slow are those fireballs? If we talk about the fastest animal on Earth, that thing can. He can go fast. I don't know if you've seen the memes, but he can go bloody fast. That fella.
Yeah, go fast.
No, he can go upside down. The fastest
animal on Earth was that. Have you seen a hedgehog? They are fucking slow. I mean,
it's a good point, but he is from an alternative dimension.
Oh, obviously that solves it. Thanks, Marvel. The answer to everything.
Yeah, that really went downhill at that point. All the petrol gone. Brilliant. No, Sonic will win. Easy. Yeah. Not even close.
Okay, what's your go-to game? So if you're in a gaming slump, or what's the game that you stick on?
What we would call our neutral times of existence game on our pod is how we refer to it.
Or Mass Effect, as Dan calls
it. It's true.
Really? You go back and play Mass Effect?
Mass Effect. If I'm in a slump, I'll stick Mass Effect on.
Every fucking year,
play it
David.
every year.
The first one, though.
No, all of them.
All 3. I love it.
I love the fact that you say all 3. What about Andromeda?
I played it once. It was all right, but it's not the original trilogy. It's not the Commander Shepard trilogy.
Yeah, so I never got all the way through the first one, but the second one's one of my favourite games of all time. It's a hell of a game. What's my neutral? Right, so it used to be Rocket League. That would be the one where if I've got nothing else to play, Rocket League would go on. I fucking love a bit of Rocket League. But really, it's probably Lumines or Threes on the mobile phone. I play. In fact, actually, let's do this. It's been a while since I've done this. I'm going to go to my game of Threes. Have you not played this? It's like a tile-based.
No.
You get like a tile of numbers, and you slide them around and combine the numbers.
I've seen people on trains. Not that I look over people's shoulders, but I've seen people on trains playing that.
I will tell you exactly how many games of Threes I've played. The problem is it counts them up. So if I go here and I press stats, see at the top there, that number going up. Sorry if you're listening on the podcast. That will continue to go up now, and that counts every game of threes I've played. And when it stops, I'll tell you exactly.
For those listening, it's already at 3,000.
3,000.
Yeah. I'll let you know when that stops. But yeah, no, that is my all-time go-to when I've got nothing else on.
Well,
we've got
thumb slide away.
We got a friend of ours on another awesome podcast, Game Club Pod, Joey. What did he say? It's 4.5 years in Football Manager, I think. 4.5 full calendar years in Football Manager games over the years.
But to explain that, for about at least one of those years, he had a laptop he could never shut off that he just kept continually plugged in with Football Manager playing on it.
Fair enough.
And I was like, that explains part of it.
I'm a massive football fan, but I've never been able to do Football Manager because I make one tweet to my team, we lose, and I just lose the shit. Reload. Yeah. The problem is I run a Little League team. So I'm worried that this season I might just storm off at one point. A bunch of 8-year-olds looking at me going, well, what do we do now? I've got a feeling that's going to happen in real life soon.
So, according to Dan, Football Manager is the greatest RPG ever created.
Ever.
Probably right.
Ever.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Football Manager is probably the first game that made me rage all those years ago when I realised, so I'd play, I'd lose a match, I'd reload a game and not change anything and you'd win it. So nothing changes and you win it. And but it's like, hold on, why is this game cheating me? How can nothing change? None of the variables change. But the result changes.
I've got 2 questions for you on Football Manager, Dan. Is there a player that you hold really dear to your heart, not because of real life football, but because of Football Manager?
Yes.
The one that's
It's such a funny question because it's true. So years ago, and I'm talking probably sort of like 2000, if not before that. There was a guy, I think he was in the Man United reserves at the time, or maybe Coventry reserves. He was called like Michael Twiss, I think his name was. So I looked him up. He never really, I don't think he ever made it, but he was like one of those 18, 19-year-olds, and you buy him and he was just super. He would score you like 30 goals a season or whatever. So every game I started, I would always go buy this Michael Twiss or whatever his name was. That's it.
And is there a football team in that game that you absolutely hate, that you always come up against and just feel, fucking hate these guys?
That was most
nothing
teams.
To do with real world.
No, it was most teams. I didn't have a hated team. What did you? Same questions back at you then.
No, because I never really played it a Football Manager, but yeah, I've got a feeling. I mean, do you get that with football though? In real life football, there'll always be a team that you just go, do you know what, bloody, for me it's Coventry, and I'm sorry if you're a Coventry City fan, it's got nothing to do with you or your club. It's the fact that my wife's aunt comes from Coventry and would only ever mention football if they're beating my team that weekend. I see Coventry beat Millwall 3-0 this week. I know last year we beat you 1-0 and you didn't fucking say anything. So this year you want to talk about football, do you? Okay, fine. Anyway, I've played 40,723 games of threes. That is where I'm at in my life at the moment. That's too much, isn't it? That's too much of a mobile.
I'd say it's not enough. We'll get you back on a year. We'll get you back on in a year's time.
Okay. Let's see where I'm at.
All right, if you could only play one genre of game, what would you play?
Oh, good question. Oh, that is a killer, actually. Does shooter count? Because that's such a wide range.
It doesn't really. Third person, first person.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because like I've got a group of friends that play video games, and I think the games that we play, I mean, but between like all through lockdown, I would not have been able to handle life without FIFA, a game that I hate with a passion, but playing pro clubs with my friends like really got me through lockdown. So, it would have been sports games because we moved on. We stayed with FIFA, but then we're playing a lot of Rematch at the moment, which is
love that. Yeah,
Dan loves Rematch.
Yeah.
They don't invite
cool.
me. I'm not a footballer, you see, so I don't do football.
You're never around for it.
But you're never on.
You're never on for it. You're never on for it.
Conveniently, you've always fucking finished before I come. They were even doing it the other night. I went to join Helldivers, and I'll get on Twitch with them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're just finishing off Rematch."
Well, you're never around for it.
Invite?
Tomorrow night, Rematch. We're waiting for you to play Baldur's Gate 3, but I've got to redo my house.
I've had an Xbox, dude. Like, my lounge has been being done.
I feel like I've just walked into the world.
You're in a domestic.
Cheers, David. Cheers.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can live without shooters. They're my absolute fave. Like first-person shooters, third-person shooters, any of that stuff. I just like. There's something about like playing Doom, not Doom Eternal. What was the one called Dark Ages? This year. Oh my god,
so good.
Every second of it. Like I loved it.
I was addicted to that from start to finish. I was like, I ain't playing anything else.
Isn't it? It's a pure 360 bullet storm era game.
Totally. Yeah, I loved it. I loved it for that, and I loved even the fucking dragon and the mech. I was into it all day long.
Same. Yeah, I love that. So yeah, probably I'll go with shooters. I think.
Do you play primarily with the same group of friends, or do you like to suffer the abuse of random 12-year-olds? You know, just like.
No, I get enough of that from my kids. No,
my own kids give me that.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same group of friends. Like, although no, I am playing video games with my oldest a little bit more online. So he started playing Rematch. So we do a few games of Rematch before he goes to bed. We had a few times where my youngest is 6, my oldest is 11. We all played Fortnite for a bit, together, and that was really good fun. What's really bad though is spending over a decade of playing video games with headphones on and a mic in front of your head, and then playing with your kids in that same and getting shot from across the back. How you can hold the language back is you fucking little, you know what I mean? It's really hard to
see. Worse when they keep beating you.
And trying to teach like online etiquette to my 6-year-old is unbelievable. Charlie, the moment I get into the lobby, you can't just start screaming, ready up, like that. It's really fucking irritating.
You're teabagging them wrong. That's not how you do it.
Every time I pick up a decent weapon, can I have it? I guess. I mean, it looked cool and I thought I wanted to use it, but you're 6, so I've got to be a grown up. But yeah. So I play with the same group of friends socially, for sure.
Yeah, I don't have any friends, clearly.
I don't have any in real life. That's my problem. It's like, I remember my wife saying to me, why don't you see your friends at the weekend? Because they live 4 hours away. We're only friends because we like the same video games.
Why don't you fuck off for 4 hours?
No, she would just tell me blunt if that was the case.
But something I was thinking of when you mentioned the game we shan't mention, Rematch. That's caused all this turmoil.
It's fine. I'm not jealous.
Do we not see? Because we were talking about Football Manager, and I stopped playing them when they went from being simple buy a player, choose a team, play, when they became like spreadsheets and basically felt like a job. And FIFA as well. I used to love that, but then once the controls became more complicated than manning a ship to space, Rematch is like the antidote. It feels like to FIFA, doesn't it? It's like
which is way more complicated to play as well. I don't know how they nail it.
Because it's just fun, isn't it?
It is just fun. I think it's so focused on the multiplayer aspect of it, and if you make a mistake in Rematch, you sort of understand, because it's like it's so funny. We played all the betas to Rematch, and when my mate Matt joined the game, he'd obviously played lots of video games, lots of football games like growing up and stuff, and he played lots of FIFA with us. When he joined the game of Rematch, he was like, right, so what shoot? Is it A or is it X, or what is it? No, it's right trigger. Sorry, what? It's right trigger. Right, okay, well, how do I run with the ball? Right bumper, actually. And if you want to run really fast, you've got tap A while you're doing it. why? Don't worry about it. You know, trying to explain that to him but I think that's what it is that the fun of it is that you will make mistakes, and it's completely understandable because the control system is insane.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Doom just is proper old school fun shooting as well, isn't it?
Really
it's not bogged down with too many mechanics, you know. And I think, is there an element of that gaming has tried to get too realistic and too detailed? Where
we're getting old, Dan. We're getting old. It's what it is.
I mean, the parry mechanic I could actually do. That was one of the things I loved about it.
Do we want to talk about your one in what was it?
Oh, fuck off! I was playing.
You've said it on it before. That's the only reason why I'm bringing it up.
Return to the what's it called? Planet. And I was playing
Savage Planet.
Yeah, Savage Planet. Have you played it?
I played. Are you talking about the third person one or the first?
Yeah, third person, the latest one. Okay, and there was the way you level up is by achieving certain challenges, and one of the challenges was to deflect something back at a thing. And I was trying. I was like, how the fuck am I failing?
You're telling me each week, weren't you?
After there's a training mission that shows you how to do it, and then I'm reading the forums, and everyone's going, "Yeah, it is quite hard. It is quite hard." And I kept moaning to Dan about it weekly. And then I realised I've been pressing the wrong button all the fucking time. And I was like, I've gone into the control scheme and gone, it's what button? It's LB. Oh, fuck. Like, I'd literally, like the entire game, I've been pressing the wrong button and not been able to progress. I was like,
we're our own worst enemies as well. The amount of games that I've played where it comes up with, your tutorial, here's what you have to do, here's what you have to press and stuff. And you're like, fuck off. I know my games. And then like later on, someone goes, well, you haven't been using this whole thing to. It happened in Shinobi recently. There's a thing, where the symbol appears above their head, and the idea is that if you've got a large group of enemies, you can get this symbol above their head and leave them, go and fight the others, and then once loads of them have got that symbol, you press two buttons, and he wipes them all out at the same time, and you get massive bonuses for doing that. And Sean brought it up on the show, and I was like, sorry, what?
You sounded so upset. Yeah, you sounded so upset.
I did loads of levels and didn't even do that. So I'm sort of just, but I remember it saying, hey, so I want to tell you about, I'm like, fuck off, let me go and jump on people's heads and that. Yeah, let's go. So it's our own fault, really.
What's even worse is when a game developer changes a button layout you're used to. For no fucking reason other than to be cool. You're like, A is jump, right? No. A's not jump anymore. LB's jump. Why is LB jump? That makes no sense whatsoever. No game's ever done LB as jump. You're like,
there is a long running argument that we've had on our show where I complained once that we have 3 controllers essentially in console gaming. We have the Switch controller, we have the DualSense, and we have and the X is in a different position in all 3 of them, right? And I took some heat. Doesn't matter, you shouldn't have to worry about that. It's stupid. Why are you moaning about that? It does my nutting. I'm playing the game. Press X. What have I playing this on again?
What I love most about the Switch 2, which is something really weird to say, is you can switch the BA buttons around, like permanently for all games. So there's a setting in the home thing that you can switch, because they're different, and it says press B, and you're like, yeah, that's B. No, that's not B. I'm pressing B to go back. Yeah, that's A on a Switch. Fuck off. It's not. Now you can switch them around permanently.
To go what you said though, Dan, about how they don't follow a set standard. I'm playing a game at the moment where you have a weapon. To aim the gun, you press the right button, the RB button. To shoot, you press, I think, the B button. But the kicker is the right trigger is not mapped to anything. So you've got the right trigger.
What's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
Can I ask you, while we're on controllers, can I ask you a very important question? Do you invert?
I do.
Oh no, I don't.
I invert, and I made Dad have much fun with that while we were playing Split Fiction, because when I invert the controllers, it inverts for him. So we're playing a level where he's fucking flying a plane. And we're playing a level where he's flying a plane. He weren't flying a plane. He was crashing a plane quite a lot.
Oh, that's funny.
I was swearing a lot.
I didn't know he did that. That's really annoying. That's super annoying that you have to force that on other people. But
I think he could change it back, but he refused to. And I'm like, why are you handicapping yourself?
Just take time changing settings.
I don't want to pause it, but he's quite happy to pause, go for a piss. Like, just pause it. Or buy nappies.
Higher stakes in that one. There's higher stakes in that situation.
So I used to invert, and I inverted all the way up until about, I want to say 4 years ago. When the last, do you remember when Microsoft Flight Simulator come to the Xbox? It was then, and it was around that time that Harry was really into Minecraft, and he kept saying, "Can you do this bit for me?" And I'd pick up the pad and go, "I can't actually, because I can't look up." This is a big problem for me.
Big Dave says dogs can't look up.
Yeah. And there was always something that really bothered me. I once queued up for close to 3 hours to play Halo 2. A show, and when I got to the front and started playing it, I asked the member of staff how to turn it inverted look on. They said you can't change the settings, so I'd waited 2 hours to, nearly 3 hours to play this game that I really want to play. Couldn't play it.
Because you were a gaming leper who liked to invert your controller, just like me. No, we hate your kind.
Yeah, totally. I reckon that's because we were N64 fans. Honestly, I think that all stems from that.
What it is, yeah.
But I forced myself to switch, and I didn't think it was ever going to be possible. But I spent hours on Minecraft helping Harry build stuff.
So you had to.
And suddenly, I've switched.
But ironically, you were playing Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is the one game where pilots actually fly with an inverted stick.
Well, but what it was, I tell you exactly what that was. So you're absolutely right. But when you have the view outside of the camera, outside of the airplane, it's controlling the camera and not the ship.
Gotcha.
The ship, the airplane.
You call it ship. They have so many different things. It's a ship.
It sounds like a new.
When you're sailing the airplane, it's fine.
Yeah, the airship. Then I was on the airship. When you take the camera outside, it works like a normal camera, and I couldn't for the life of me get it to invert. So I was with this and the Minecraft thing, that's it. I'm really going to focus. I tell you what, the first time I played it, I think I played Rainbow Six Siege with my friends. Yeah. Right. They were like, "You're all right, mate." Because I went through loads of games.
You just keep pointing your gun at the ground.
Yeah, just running around, looking down. I'm going, just give me a while. I've got to sort my head out.
I don't think I could ever go back. And I've got the same problem. My kids now, they're playing games and they're like, "Can you help me with this?" I'm like, "No. I'm not even touching it. No."
Right.
Or I go in and invert them and then hand them back the controller and they're like, "Oh, I died." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, shit, sorry."
I remember when I used to be like really sort of into the argument and no, actually invert's the way to go. And I use that, I don't know if you've heard that argument where it's like, no, what you got to do is imagine that the thumbstick is on the back of your head, right? So if the thumbstick's on the back of your head, how do you look up? You press down, and how do you look down? You press up. And I was like, I'm going to use that. That is my, really going to. And I said it to someone, and he said, "Right, how do you look left and right?" I went, "Oh, yeah, good point."
But you say that, there's a fucking setting on Metal Eden, because it said invert Y, and I was like, and then it said invert camera, and I was like, that must be camera Y. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll invert that. I got in the game, and I pushed left and I was like, what's going on now? And I was like, oh, that's what it meant. I was like, then get mullered by the first weak guy and like going, because I'm spinning around in a fucking circle.
And the family comes. You bet the walls in the room and you're crying as your character's spinning.
The worst one recently was fucking Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed Shadows. They put so many different settings on that camera thing. I couldn't work out what was what, and I end up having to try and retrain my brain to do the invert because I couldn't figure out how to set the setting. But then I couldn't figure out which button was deflecting a game. So I mean, it's probably me, not them.
Oh, dear.
Fucking hell.
Right.
Jesus Christ, idiot.
I think we should probably look at wrapping up shortly. So I've got the biggest question of the night.
Okay.
Oof.
GIF or GIF?
I'm worried.
GIF or GIF?
I'm a GIF guy. Guy. I think the people that say GIF, I can't. Come on. Don't let the man tell you what to say.
Don't let the
tell you what to
say.
Don't let that man. I think he's full of shit.
Don't let that guy.
You verify that? I
think we should get you and Ian in a room with broken pool cues and fight it out.
Well, in a few weeks' time, they will be, won't they?
Ian's not a GIF guy, is he?
He's a GIF guy. Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Ian.
Yeah.
Ian Lee. Have a word with you.
So you know what
the man admit. You know what you're.
Have a word with yourself.
You know what your Q&A.
Ian? Jesus.
You know what your first question in your Q&A is now.
He'll change it. He'll just change it just to be annoying.
I might slip that in actually.
Just GIF.
Do you really say GIF instead of GIF? It's just something I heard. You say GIF, do you?
And then when he says no, he told you that don't point at us. Don't say.
I'm bringing video evidence. I'm bringing evidence.
Actually,
I'm going to put it up on a screen like led by donkeys.
If you want to put it on a projector, yeah.
I like the idea that after an hour after me asking that question, people just leaving because they're still talking about the GIF thing. Are we supposed to just go at this point? Because I'm pretty sure it's like the cleaners on the stage sweeping up.
They've been there for an hour arguing over a 3-letter acronym.
No, GIF for life. I might get a t-shirt that says GIF for life.
I think you should get a tattoo.
Well, that's.
I'm not sure how you're going to work it out. It's GIF, not GIF.
Yeah.
I'll just tell them. This is GIF, actually.
Dan, anything else from you, Dan?
Just a huge thank you to David. Look, it's been an absolute pleasure. I think we got through about 3 of the questions we actually wanted to ask you, but that's the whole point of this show, right? It's about having, finding about people through different ways and just having a real good time about games because we fucking love them. And it's been an absolute pleasure. I just want to say a huge thank you, mate. Yeah, thank you, Dave. You just have to come on again for the rest of the questions. Yeah.
I'm up for that. No, thank you so much. I've absolutely loved this tonight. It's been brilliant. And as I said, I don't get asked on many podcasts, and I think you've found out why. But it's been an absolute delight to come on. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Please do push your podcast again or anything else you want to push before you go.
If you want to go and check out the computer game show, it's tcgs.co. It's got a link to everything we do, basically. And we're available on all podcast players. Just search the computer game show and you'll find us. I hope you enjoy it. Go and check it out. It's a lot of fun.
It is brilliant, and we'll stick a link in YouTube. It's really good. I've been watching a few episodes recently, and I'm enjoying it thoroughly because there's great banter between you guys. And like I said, the dynamic just works so wonderfully. So, giving me hours of pleasure. That sounds weird.
Yeah.
But you've not heard the Gotti show yet. When you get, definitely listen to that one when you get the chance, because what I love about that episode, show we do once a year, is that people say it gets more like Traitors than anything else, where there are deals going on behind the scenes and, massive arguments. Yeah, I love that.
Nice.
So,
brilliant. Well, look,
check that one out.
Well, thank you very much, David. I echo what Dan said. Thank you very much for coming on and giving us your time. Thank you to Ian for the question. From us, Dan, I guess we will just say, make sure, if you're listening, make sure you press the little subscribe button or the follow button, and catch us next week for another episode of Gaming Views.
That's up for now.
Goodbye.